So, hello, welcome to this week's weekly update. So, apology for the camera angle. I managed to get my computer, well, I say I got my computer running. The guy who looked at the computer, he said there was nothing wrong with it. He just fiddled with some plugs and everything was fine. And then as I was about to come and get it, he said there's a problem with the graphics card. So I have no graphics card. I just have the inbuilt card. And there's all kinds of problems, but I can get it running. I can use my overhead camera. Let me show you. Oh, I've lost it. Overhead camera, there we go. So this one works absolutely fine, and I can't seem to get more than 2 cameras going. This one overhead plugs into USB, and this one that I'm looking at you on is a USB-C. Anyway, I'm getting too technical beyond my own knowledge as well. So I'm able to make videos. The computer's a little bit clunky, but it's fine. I need to get a new graphics card. I'm getting him. The guy's had a look at the old graphics card, and I've shown him a new one. I did a little look online, the best graphics cards available, and the third one came out at 250 quid. So I thought, if that's any good, my requirements are that anything I put into the computer is as good, if not better, than what I took out. So that's what I've said to him. He's going to have a look. So you're going to see me looking like this, not directly at the camera, for which I apologise. So, weekly update. What have I been up to? Right, well, give me a second. I've not been well the last couple of days. I'm hoping it's just a bad cold. So, excuse me. I've just had 2 days off work, and I spent one of those in bed. I just felt terrible. It's one of those stupid things where I'm not really seriously ill. It's just everything becomes really hard work. You know, you do 10 minutes worth of effort, you need half an hour in bed. But I've just now got back from work, and it's been really, really tough, but I got through it, and I now know each day is going to get a little bit easier until my next day off, which is going to be Wednesday and Thursday. So the content that you've been seeing this week was already installed, was already uploaded weeks ago, and I've just got a couple of things to upload for next week. So let me tell you what's coming. So first of all, Monday always seems to be complicated. You had RoboCop issue 40 on the Monday, and tomorrow you're going to get RoboCop issue 41 and 42. And then the next week should be ET, but you're going to get RoboCop 43 and 44. Now, 43 and 44 is the new pack. The reason I've done it this way is ET has now been paid for, as has the Infinity Gauntlet. Let me find my... So, this is the basis I've worked on. The RoboCop was paid for on the 11th of September. I received it on the 24th of September, which is 13 days after I paid for it. The ET was paid for on the 23rd of September, so I'm going to expect that round about the 7th of October. So this is why tomorrow you've got a RoboCop, and the week after. The week after is going to be the 7th of October. It's actually going to be October in a matter of days, and then we'll get into the ET. So Tuesday, I'm not doing so well on Tuesday. Oh, no, I'm doing okay on Tuesday. So, the first Warhammer proper, as I've done it, has been completed. And we built... This is one of what we built. It's not very good camera view, but these are basically what we built. Now, this is typical of me. I say, right, I'm going to do some painting. and they throw 20 figures at me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not painting 20 figures. So what they've done is they've given us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different figures. They've given us the leader, the musician, the standard bearer, and they've given us 3 kinds of rank and file troops. So what I've done is I've just done 6 figures, and the following week will be the actual painting. Now, confession to make, next the 8th of October's video hasn't been finished yet. This is what they look like on Saturday night, and that's what they're going to look like on as you're watching this. But they look really nice. Using the overhead camera, you can see they do look lovely. I've just done the zenithal highlight. Let's have a look at one of my favourites, this little net bearer. I think he's quite beautiful, and if you compare him to one that hasn't been painted, I think just with a zenithal highlight, just a zenithal prime, these are exactly the same figure. But look at the detail, look at the it was just a quick airbrush of 3 different colours. Absolutely amazing. So I'm going to enjoy painting those. So yeah, Tuesday you've got a video which is making them. Now Wednesday I've got the Okra B-type bus coming out, and that was already made, but I hadn't uploaded it. So the issue was, if I didn't get the computer back, I wouldn't have uploaded it, but I've got it now, so I'll get that uploaded, and then I've got to work on some more of that for the following week. I am really touch and go at the moment. Most videos, I'm in a situation where I've got videos for this week, but I haven't got anything for next week, and I'm trying to get myself 2 or 3 weeks ahead. Part works don't count because part works come when they come, but the B-type bus is getting some I'm trying to do it one video, one stage, and some of those stages are actually quite lengthy. I'm a little bit, should we use the word naive with metal models, wooden models, sorry. I don't know fully what I'm getting into, and I can only go by what it looks like. So the gauntlet is coming out tomorrow. That is the premium base 5, and I'm hoping, right, so the situation I've got with the gauntlet is that the next pack has been paid for and it's on its way. Now, because it was paid for on the 19th of September, it's due on the 3rd, but the 3rd is this week. I haven't got anything for the 10th yet. Well, I've got that issue 75 and 76, which is the first part of the finger. But I think I will crack on and get that done as one video. And then the new pack will have 77, 78, and then the next stage will have 79 to 81, which is going to be 5 issues over 2 videos. And then the premium base part 6 will be the last one, the 3rd video. And what I'm trying to do is space everything out so that everything's all nice and neat for Christmas. So what you're going to get from November, you're probably going to get, most of the time you're going to get one video, one issue per video, which will take us into Christmas. Lancaster on Friday, that's cracking on now. So the Friday's video that I did was the Magic Scale modelling unboxing, and I hope you really enjoyed it because I thought it was fantastic. What I've done off camera is I've been testing some of the things like the motors, and I've been putting it together. I haven't assembled it on the model, but I've been testing the lights and the motors and the speakers, and it's fantastic. It really is fantastic. Everything coming on in its own time and switching off, and I've sat here with a table with a bundle of wires flying all over the place. It's just absolutely amazing. But I have a problem with the Lancaster. I need to work on the instrument panels, and I need to I've got an aftermarket instrument panel to do, which it's not happening, so I've had to order another one, and that's not going to be here till the end of November. So what I've decided to do is jump ahead on the Lancaster, starting this week, and I'm jumping ahead to stage 13, which is the inside of the Lancaster. So this is issue. Oh, I got the wrong video. I'm so sorry, guys. I've been showing the wrong video camera. So this is stage 13 all complete, and then what I'll do, the next video we'll do stage 14, which is over there and I can't reach it. Then we've got stage 15 is to do this piece, and then the next stage is to do this, and then the next stage is to assemble them together, so you'll end up with two halves of the fuselage, and then I'll do some weathering on it, and then that will take us to the 27th of November. So to fill out those last 2 weeks before Christmas, I thought I'll cheat a little bit and I'll paint the navigator figure, but I have got another aftermarket part which is coming. Well, it's here, but I'll combine that with the navigator figure, so that'll fill us out by Christmas. So there'll be plenty of content on the Lancaster. But yeah, that's basically our week. Now, what I've also decided to do with the Lancaster, I'm spending a lot of time explaining what I'm doing. Now, with this particular piece of fuselage, there's a few little techniques that I'm showing you for the first time, and it's okay if I bring in one new technique and then explain how to do it. It's okay. It'll turn a 15-minute video into a 20-minute video, for example. But there's about 3 techniques that I've not shown anyone, that I personally haven't explained. Remember that I want this video to come across to people who have never touched a scale model. Theoretically, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you've never done a scale model before, I would like to think that if you followed my videos, you would end up with a reasonable model. It won't necessarily be an award-winning model, but it'll be something that will resemble a Lancaster. So by having so many new techniques in one video, I'm spending the whole video explaining things. So what I'm looking at doing is doing a set of skills videos. So every time I tell you something that I've never explained before, then I will make a separate video. Sometimes it'll be really stupid, like how to thin your paint. But what that means is that in the future, any video, any series that I'm aiming for first time viewers, I can now refer to one of my skills videos rather than having to explain it. So if I start a new project in the future, I'm making this up, but let's say I do a 1:32 scale Spitfire to go with a Lancaster, then I could say, right, so first of all, you thin your paints. If you don't know how to thin paints, check this video out. And then we airbrush it, we prime it with the airbrush. This is how we do it. Refer to this video. And I just think that will sort things out over time. Obviously, I still always invite your questions, and if anybody ever puts the comment, if you're not sure on anything, just write a comment, can you explain this further? And then that gives me new content ideas, and I will bring a video out to do it. So that is next week. So to recap, we've got Monday, or tomorrow, we've got Robocop 41 and 42, which I believe is working on the right thigh stages 6 and 7, which is rather interesting. That's all I'm going to say. Tuesday is part 1 of stage 32 of Warhammer, which is Moon Clan Shooters. Now, I did get an interesting comment from Peter Webster. Let me just gabble on a little bit, and then I will have a look at the comment, and I will read the comment out. Comments. And I thought it was a very, very good comment, actually. Do you know what? Why can't... Oh, I see, right. It's been filtered. Right. Interesting, I have good tech. Right, there we go. I always get... Oh, no, that's over the batteries. Right, there we go. So Peter Webster says, I really try my best to follow what you say, but to be honest, I'm still clueless. So that comment comes across to me as, hello, we have our cat invasion. We always have cat invasions, don't we, when I'm trying to make videos. But then again, you haven't seen me all day, have you? So let me give you a little bit of a cuddle. Look, hello. See, he comes up for a cuddle, and when I give him a cuddle, he pulls away. I missed you, you know. Yeah, so obviously it suggests to me that I need to explain things a little bit more, unless Peter's saying, yeah, you're explaining it, but I just can't take it in. But Peter's not stupid. So, oh, I need to say a big thank you to Peter. This is a funny story. I was almost convinced that Peter can be psychic, but apparently I made a comment last week. So I'm actually filming some Robocops, and I'm picking things up with my screwdriver. Now, I'm convinced this screwdriver used to be magnetised, but I'm picking... No, I think it wasn't. That must have been what the comment was, that this wasn't magnetised. Now, this is my favourite screwdriver, and it is magnetised, but it was starting to lose its magnetising. I was picking screws up, and it just wasn't picking them up. And I looked for my magnetiser, which is usually parked right here, and I couldn't find it. So I thought, well, I'll just crack on. Incidentally, I have now found it, and it's there. But I'd ordered 3 things on Amazon, and they came about a couple of hours after I made these videos. Now, I ordered 3 items, but I got 4 packages. So I immediately thought, oh, Peter Webster's up to his tricks again. He sent me something. So I opened one of these packages, and it's this. Has that come out backwards? That's come out backwards, hasn't it? I'll have to look at the video back on that. Let me... Oh, what just happened? Sorry, guys, bear with me. I'm going to do some spin doodly with my... No, that didn't help, did it? There we go. Well, that's annoying, isn't it? Is that actually me now? That's better. You can read the words now. So I'm like, well, how did Peter know that I needed a magnetizer 2 hours after I said it? And how does he get Amazon to send it 2 hours after I sent it? So, but apparently I said something last week. I think it might have been about this. So this is nicely magnetized now, thanks to that. I'm actually not magnetizing this, because I think it's always good. I haven't got anything that can come to harm by using a magnetized screwdriver on it. But what I'm finding is generally happening, if I need this screw, because I like this screwdriver because it's thin and long, and sometimes this can't get into places, but more often than not I can pick the screw up with this, place it in, and then just pop it in, switch screwdrivers and finish with this. But this is nicely magnetized now. Look, let me show you how this is a single screw in a bag. Alright, it did work yesterday anyway. So, but you can see it is it's trying hard to pick the bag up. through. So it's picking that screw up through the plastic bag, so it's nicely magnetised. So big thank you to Peter Webster. And it just goes to show, I mean, I've got really expensive stuff that I could buy that would make the channel so much nicer, but it's the small things that get sent that just does do the improvements. One of the things that I think, here it is, I think he thought that I wasn't using it. I just didn't have the time to use it, and it's this is one of these little beauty things, and I actually fill it full of half alcohol, half water, and I use it for cleaning. And you just push this down. I've actually got it locked. You push this down, and I know you can't really see it, but it's now got a little bit of liquid. And then I'll get my cloth, and then I'll dab my cloth in there, and that's now dampened, and I can clean whatever with it. Very handy for things. And I've just discovered, I don't know if I can show you this on camera, but I've got a little tiny cut on my fingertip, and it's obviously just split because when I got alcohol, oh, didn't mean to do that, when I got alcohol and water in, it just stung. So I know that's got alcohol in it. But yeah, I use that for, you know, like before you paint models, you clean the model down, and that's dead handy. We've got another invader. How are you, my lovely? Now, you love the fuss, don't you? She's been coming to bed with me just about every night. She's more of an evening fuss cat, whereas Shadow's more of a morning fuss. But you did a very strange thing. I must sleep really well at night, because I went to bed one night. She's got this feather toy. I don't know if there's one. She drags them all over the house. You'll find one on there somewhere, and then it'll be gone. But I've got this, it's a stick with a feather on the end, and she absolutely loves it. And I woke up one morning and this feather stick thing was in bed with me. So she's obviously brought it in during the night, and I didn't know. But it was under the covers, and she didn't wake me in the night. So anyway, that's the craziness of the cats. So yes, so that's basically the videos. Now, what else was I going to tell you? So yeah, the plan was, I'm actually going to be moving, and I think I'm going to be moving round about Christmas time. The landlord is about to give me notice. Now, if he gives me notice today, which he hasn't done, let me just, that date is actually wrong. Day to day. Oh, yeah, right. So if he hands me notice today, then my last day here will be the 22nd December, which is an absolutely terrible time to move as far as I'm concerned, because that's Christmas week. Although he has given me, he says he will give me a week extra, so that I've got this transition period to move. But I'm desperately going to try and hold him off for, say, 2 weeks. And then I'll move in the new year. So talking of Christmas, I have got my Christmas month sorted out. I have received, let me find it, this is all I'm going to show you, and I have filmed day one, and that is the, ooh, it's heavy because it's got something else on top of it, so I've got bits of Robocop on here as well. So the murder mystery, I'm just calling it a mystery because technically the guy hasn't been found dead yet, but this is the mystery that we were talking about. I've ordered it and it's arrived, and it's got various envelopes that have, I mean, I haven't opened any of these, I promise. Well, I've opened day one. In fact, there's nothing to open on day one except the box, but you get a little newspaper to read with some funny stories in it. You get an introduction letter, and then it tells you to go to the website and watch YouTube video. Well, they've made YouTube videos, but you're supposed to watch them on a certain day. So there's one for the 1st of December, which is a little news, like Sky News article about a missing Leicestershire man. And I filmed episode 1, and then I've given you my thoughts, I'm a crap detective. You know, when you watch films and you're trying to suss out who done it or what the plot is or whatever, I'm one of those. You have to explain it to me. I'm always the one who says, "Oh, I didn't see that coming." So, in all fairness, I probably won't solve this mystery, but obviously I'm sharing it with you guys. I've also about to start. I don't know if I explained this to you. So I'm doing the Airfix 12 days of Airfix starter sets, and in this box I have got 13 Airfix starter sets, and I'm doing one a day from Christmas Day onwards, and then I'm giving away a gift. I'm not going to package it as a competition, but I'm going to give a gift to someone. Basically, I'm drawing them randomly, and then whichever one doesn't get drawn at the end is the one that I'm giving away. And in actual fact, you've got some kits that are not as good as the others, and you've got some really good kits, and the kit that's being given away is actually one that's, I would place above middle. It's definitely in the top half, I think. So that's all good. Because my computer's been down, I've been watching a little more TV than usual. So I have been watching some more episodes of 911 Lone Star. Now, I started watching 911 a while back, and I really enjoy it. All of these American fire shows and police shows and things, I really enjoy all of that. What you got, Engine 19 or Station 19, that's a good one. But I watched 911, and now I'm watching 911 Lone Star, so I've watched a few more episodes of that. It's getting a little bit in depth now, and I've managed to find CSI Cyber. I really do like CSI Cyber. But two films I watched, complete contrast to each other. One is called Fly Me to the Moon, and it's really good. I really like it. If you're into conspiracy theories, you will hear the conspiracy theory that America didn't fly to the moon. In fact, it was actually a stage set, and it was all a hoax, and they set it all up. Now, Fly Me to the Moon kind of plays off of that. Now, I'm probably going to spoil it for you, and I'm sorry if you haven't watched it. But basically, NASA employs this woman who's a bit of a con artist turned PR person, and she's bloody good at her job. And they employ her to get the public interested in this first man on the moon thing. Because obviously people aren't into space, and with Vietnam War and everything else going on, people have other priorities, and she does a really good successful job of that, and suddenly and she gets sponsorship, money's being cut from the space budget, and yet they want a man on the moon by 1970, and they're cutting all the budget, so she's getting all these corporate sponsors. What are you up to, Missy? Are you telling me that he's being naughty? Is that what it is? Yeah, you are, aren't you? Good girl, aren't you? I told them off the other day. I had a water jar, jam jar full of water. I don't know which one, but one of them jumped up on the spray booth and knocked it over, and it's all over the floor and everything. Oh, he's behind me. So he's not up there, he's behind me there. Anyway, so she gets all this corporate sponsorship and everything, and she gets all the funding, and blah blah blah. And then this Woody Harrelson, the character he plays, I think he's something high up in the special services or something. He basically, what he wants her to do is set up this stage and hoax the moon landing. And what they're going to do is they have cameras on the limb, but it turns out it's a dummy camera. And just at the right moment, they're going to switch the TV pictures to the show. And the idea is that if the moon landing fails, they will still have the moon landing, but they kind of don't want that to happen, so they fix it. They've got the camera, and then and that's, I'm not going to tell you much more. The other film that I watched is 2009 film, I think it is. It's a film called Law Abiding Citizen. Now, the reason I watched it was I saw a clip on Facebook. Every now and again you get these little clips, don't you, on the other short videos you get, and they showed a clip of this guy holding this gun to this policeman, and he's about to shoot him, but it turns out that this gun has been booby trapped, and it puts this drug into him that makes him paralysed, and then you can tell that he's about to take him away and torture him. And I thought, oh, I'll give that a look. So I watched the film. Oh, talk about gruesome! Judge on the phone. That's all I'm going to say on that one. So it is a little bit gruesome, but basically it's about a man who's a little bit disenchanted with the justice system. So I really enjoyed that. So that's about all I can think of to talk to you about. I'll be absolutely honest with you guys. There's a little bit of pressure on me to do these videos. I've lost a good three or four days off. I've missed through A, being ill, and B, not having the computer. So I'm only really about a week ahead. In order to get next week's videos out, I've got to sit and compile the Lancaster and upload Warhammer and Okra. Next week, the week after, I've got the Robocop. I've got the Gauntlet to do. I've got another episode of the Lancaster. I've got the Warhammer to paint. Now, the painting of the Warhammer is a time-consuming bit. So the actual opening of the magazine takes me about half an hour. So however long it takes me to paint these 6 figures, half an hour later I'll have another video made. So it's going to be a case of, although I've got 2 weeks work, I've not got anything after this week, but once I'll go from having no videos for the week after to having 2 videos. The bus is getting to a complicated stage. It's coming to a couple of complicated stages, actually. They're going to have to be done over days. It's that stage where you have to prime it, let it dry, then paint it, let it dry, and then do some other stuff, let it set, varnish it. So it's actually going to take me, I'm sorry, I've got hiccups. So to do the next stage, realistically it's going to take me about 4 days, but it's going to take me about half an hour each day, if that makes sense. Now the Lancaster is quite easy because I've done this, which I'm about 5 minutes of filming away. The last thing I did was glue the windows in, and I did a show to show you that the glue is white, and I needed to let it dry to show you then that it goes clear, and that will wrap the video up. So I did it last night, and then it's dried overnight, and as you can see, there's no white ring on the windows. So I just need to do like a 5-second clip and then compile the video, and then the opposite side is exactly the same as this, but with different pieces in. So it's applying the same techniques, and then the next video will be painting the inside of that, and then the next video will be painting the inside of that, and then the next video will be I can't remember if the next video is going to be gluing both pieces together so that you can see where the join is because of where I've painted it, So we'll be gluing those together to form one bit of fuselage. Then we'll have this side. Now I can't remember if I'm going to glue those together in one video, but then you're going to have, look at how big this is. This is almost the full length of the fuselage for the Lancaster. It's not quite, because you've got a little bit on the back to come and you've got a little bit on the front, so it's going to be about this much longer than this, but that's the fuselage. And then obviously I can't glue the two pieces of fuselage together because I haven't done the cockpit yet. But we've also got to do some extra bits, like we've got to cut holes in there so that we can run the wires through to the wing. And then I've got to work out what I want to do is I don't want to glue the wings on. The wings will clip on, and so I might get some JST leads and do it so that there's a break in just where the wing is, and then I can bring the wing on, connect the JST leads, and then clip it on. So that way, if I want to take it anywhere and show it to anyone, I can take it apart into pieces. And obviously, you haven't got all the circuitry hanging about. So yeah. So I've worked the plan out. I just can't remember what the plan is. And then, as I say, we'll paint the Navigator, and so we'll have two painted figures. I was going to end up doing a recap, but I'm also going to be looking at the base. I know roughly how big the model's going to be. This is one wing, and so we know that that's going to be half of the width. So what I need to do is then maybe look at doing a base, and I want to put all the electronics in the base. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So I don't know if one of the pieces that came, spent a little bit extra on it, and I got it's like a wireless connection, and what it is, it's got two metal plates and two pins. So instead of attaching the battery box to the circuit, you actually attach the two pins to the circuit. The pins then get embedded into the wheels. You then have the two metal plates that attach to the battery box, and you can plant those into the base, so that as you place the Lancaster onto the base, the wheels make contact with the contact points and it powers it up. Now, if it's running and then you pick the Lancaster up, or it slips, it disconnects the power, because what you're effectively doing is, this is a very crude way to explain things, but what you are effectively doing is this. Yeah, that's basically how it's going to work. So if you move it off, obviously it cuts the power. That isn't how it's going to work. But and what I've also bought, I want to have the base powered by a choice of batteries or power supply, and I bought a power supply. Do you know when you do the wrong thing but for the right reason? No, you do the right thing for the wrong reason. I don't know if that made sense. So basically, the power supply, I got that particular one. It was quite expensive. It was 10 quid. But there was two features that I liked about it. One was that you could adjust the power supply. It's got a little switch on it, and you can turn it and it adjusts the power supply. So if I've got the wrong, I think I've got the correct power supply, but I needed 6 volts. So I think it goes anything from 1.5 volts up to about 15 volts. The second thing it had is it has the plugs. You can unplug it, so you have a choice of plugs, and I thought that you could, I could choose the plug that works with what I want to, but it doesn't quite work like that. However, one of the plugs, it actually has a couple of plates and some screws. So what I can actually do is get bare wires and screw them in like you would a 3-pin plug. You know how you've got the pin and you've got the screw on the top, and you push the wire in, then you screw it into place. This is exactly how that works, and then you plug the other end in, and I think that would work perfectly. So yeah, but I've now spoiled a future video, so I do apologise. So guys, yes, that is it. Sorry, I'm looking for things as I'm talking to you. That is it for me for this week. I'm not there yet. I've got to sort various things out. I've got my USB thing there, and it doesn't power my keyboard properly. And I've got this is the keyboard and mouse that I use for the laptop that I used to take to London, and I don't know if the processor, because the guy said to me that the processor is good, and I'm only using about 1% of the processor, but now that the graphics card is damaged, is broken, the computer seems very slow to process. It keeps freezing up on me. For example, this morning I did a cut and paste job, cut and paste formatting. So I selected a bit, I said copy format, paste, and the whole screen hung for about 5 minutes, and then it all caught up with itself. I'm typing on the keyboard, and you'll see the letters come up, and then suddenly they'll stop, and then they'll go. So I wonder if the memory, it was using the memory that was in the graphics cards rather than using the memory. So I think I did say to the PC guy, I'll be alright to wait till after Christmas, because I'm going to be moving house. I'm therefore going to move the PC. So why not take the PC to his shop? He can put the graphics card in, and then we go from his shop to my new house, which I think makes a lot of sense. But it looks like this is going to drive me mad. So I might need it a little bit quicker. The other thing is as well, I just thought of something and then I've forgotten it. Moving house, graphics card, memory, I can't remember, it's gone. Oh yes, so I haven't done any videos on it, I haven't talked about it. They will feature on some videos. A lot of people are going on about, is it Galleria airbrushes? Now, I'm not denying that they're good. I have absolutely no authority on them because I have never used them. But I can't show you the actual, in fact I'm going to, bear with me one sec. So my apologies guys for that. I'm going to switch cameras as well. Overhead camera. Right, so this is the Harder & Steenbeck. This is the Ultra 24, or Ultra as it's called. Now this is an airbrush that I've seen a long time ago. Look, you can see I've used it. Now I've been after this airbrush. Now anyone who knows me knows that I'm quite slow to purchase things. I see something and I think, oh, that looks really good, and then I'll do a bit of research on YouTube, and then I'll sit there and I'll slowly save up the money for it. I won't treat it as a high priority unless I'm desperately needing it, and then eventually, if I'm still liking it, I'll buy it. Now this has been in my mind wish list for quite a long time now. I think it's been over a year. Now this costs less than £100, which in my opinion makes it a budget airbrush. Now I stuck a sticker on it because I've got various airbrushes and I can't ever remember the needle size. And this one is a 0.45mm. Now what really drew me to it is this collar. A lot of airbrushes will have a little screw on the back which will adjust the trigger, but this has actually got a collar on it. So if you switch it there, the needle the trigger goes into free flow. So you know it's vigilante mode. You then switch it to there and it'll only go that far back, and it's labelled prime, and it's just the right amount of flow to prime a model. You then go to this one and it restricts it a little bit more, and that's labelled as base, so that's very useful for putting your base paints on. And then you've got your 3, 2 and your 1. So look, can you see 1 restricts it quite a lot, and this is for your detail work. And if you put it on prime or base, they tell you to spray from about a hand width away. So you're spraying from about that distance. So there's me model, that's the distance I'm spraying from. Yep, so roughly that much. So basing and priming. So obviously basing you can come in, but then you need a little bit less flow. Now this is, bear in mind, this is designed for beginner. Now if you're doing say a zenithal highlight, switch it on number 3, 3 fingers, right, and do yourself a nice zenithal highlight. Then you want to come in a little bit closer, so you switch it to number 2 and you're doing 2 fingers away. And then when you want to do some detail work, switch it to number 1 and you want to be going. Now can you imagine if you had that far away and you slammed that open like that? It's just going to flood it, isn't it? Whereas on the other hand, if you were coming from this distance but you only had this much paint coming out, it's not going to work. Now I have tried this, so look, 1 finger, just this much paint. Now I've given this a go. I primed these using this, and I did this using this. And the 2 things I'll tell you about this, and this is my opinion, it is absolutely bloody fantastic, and it cleans really easy. I have not given that a full clean. That's just been cleaned out with plain water, followed up with a little bit of thinner, followed up by a bit of plain water. Like you can see at the top, it's not been cleaned out, and it hasn't had a full good clean, but that's had what I call a battle clean, and it's absolutely fantastic. The other feature I like about it is if you undo the nozzle, they now have this groove system. Hopefully you can get that. There we go. So you might, if you're lucky, you'll see 4 grooves on one. Look at my thumbnail. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll see if I can get that in closer so that it focuses better on it. Come on, focus for me. There we go. So there you got 4 lines. That tells you that is between a 0.4 and a 0.5 needle, and then their 0.2 has 2 grooves on it. Simple, isn't it? Now there's one thing I don't like about this, and that's normally what I'll do is I'll put my finger on it to do back flushing. I find that helps mix the colours better. You can't do this because it's more designed that if you've got these holes in the sides, if you get tip clog, you just put your brush in there, and that will clean the tip dry off. So it is designed for more of a beginner. Apparently the back flushing isn't a beginner's technique. I do like this entire all-in-one thing, and it's got this seal. But here's the thing I do like: all of their airbrushes are now interchangeable. So if I wanted, this is the basic one. The next one up is called the Evolution, which I think is a good name for it, because the Evolution is what you will use when you are evolving as an airbrusher. So it's a little bit different from this one, but I think advanced people could use this, you know. And then you have the Infinity, which is their best airbrush. Now you'll be using that for Infinity, apart from replacing parts. Now the trigger and the needles are all interchangeable. Now this has, I don't know if you can see this, but I can't pull that trigger back. The only way I can pull that trigger back is to push it down for the air first. Right, so look, no trigger, push it down and it comes down. So you cannot pull back on the paint without doing the air. Now, on the next two models up, you can. And the reason for that is pulling the paint back before you push the air is a legitimate technique. It's got something to do with splattering. But what it does, your finger very quickly learns. I mean, this is muscle memory for me anyway. But you very quickly get the muscle memory. I wonder if that's not... Yeah, so you push it down and then back. So you just develop that muscle memory, like if you just pull it back. But yeah, I mean, I already have that. So I may actually change that trigger for the Infinity or the Evolution. And I've got myself a completely different airbrush. So it isn't, I mean, the shape is different on the other airbrushes, but the way I see it, if I change the trigger and the nozzle for the one for the Infinity, I've basically got myself a Harder Steenbeck Infinity with this groovy collar. That collar is absolutely spot on. The only thing it doesn't do for you is your air pressures. But I don't think it's possible for them to do the air pressures. But what I do now is I actually have a silicone mat. And what I'll do, just before I spray onto the model, I'll usually switch it down to about 2. And then from about that distance, I'll spray. And if I'm getting a nice spray, I know it's right. If I'm getting spidering, then I know my air pressure's a bit too high. Because obviously if you thin your paints down further, you got more risk of splattering. So you want to turn that air pressure down. So the paint doesn't stick as well to the silicone. So if you can airbrush on silicone, you know it's going to work on the model. So that's the only thing I have to do. But yeah, that is now a lot of people will pick holes in this. It's quite a heavy airbrush compared to these Chinesey ones and my Iwata. But the main thing now is I do have some good Chinese airbrushes, and I have two very good airbrushes. I have an Iwata, I think it's an Iwata CR Plus, something like that. It's somewhere, but now I have a Harder Steenbeck. So my next purchase, well, I'll probably get another one of these, and I'll get one for lacquer paints and one for acrylic paints, because they're like less than £100 each. Then I'll probably look at investing in, well, I might invest in the nozzles before I invest in the whole airbrush. And there's another difference as well. These nozzles, it's got a single seal on it. Apparently the better airbrushes have got a triple seal. What that basically means is when this seal eventually goes, and it'll probably go in about 5 to 8 years, it's knackered, and you replace the nozzle, and away you go for another 5 to 8 years. On the triple seal ones, when the seal goes, it will still work because you've still got 2 more seals. It just won't perform quite so well. But I'm suggesting that the level of airbrushing I won't notice much difference between a single seal and a triple seal. Obviously when you're an advanced airbrusher you'll notice that, but this is hopefully, I would rate myself in the airbrushing world, I would rate myself as a reluctant intermediate. I nervously say I'm an intermediate. I'm not a beginner anymore. I've gone beyond that. I can do air pressures and I can do trigger and I can do some techniques. So I am definitely beyond beginner. But when I say I'm an intermediate, I'm a little bit nervous. And I'm hoping that this brush will take me into what I'll refer to as confident intermediate. And then I'm ready to bang on the door and say I'm advanced. So while everyone is banging on about Gallery, is it Gallery? I might even give one a try. This, at the moment, this is my airbrush of choice, and I can name you a few other people that would agree with me. Harder and Steenbeck is the way to go, and they've got some fancy looking ones as well. And I don't think they're OTT prices over the top. The only criticism I have, and I don't know if it's a fair criticism, this cup, it just wedges in. Now I'm scared to take that out too much, because apparently what happens is each time you put that cup in, it will just wear it away slightly, and eventually that cup will be loose and that will fall out. Right now that cup is perfect. Now people with big fingers, of which I don't apply, have trouble because there isn't a lot of space there. Now they do a smaller cup to help people with big fingers, and I get away with that. That cup is more than ample. I've not used more than about a third of it. Basically, the primer that I use for this, I put about a third of a cup in, and I thought, oh, I don't know if that's going to be enough, I might have to top it up. But because I had it on the correct setting for prime, I actually had enough. I had a little bit left over. When I tipped it out into my spray out pot, there was like one drop came out. So I thought, yeah, that's actually perfect, isn't it? So it's not the perfect airbrush, but I defy anybody to come up with the perfect airbrush. But apparently one of the features of the Infinity is it titanium or something? There's something they put the cup. So I think it's titanium, but whatever metal they use, the paint really doesn't want to stick to it, so it's so easy to clean. And that's what you want. You want something that's easy to clean. But yeah, I will go as far as saying that this has revolutionised my airbrushing. I went through a phase I didn't want to airbrush because airbrushing kept going wrong, and I've used this a couple of times, and now I want to airbrush 24/7. So yeah guys, so 1 minute I'm looking at the timer and thinking that's a really short video, and now I see it's gone to nearly an hour. So I'm going to leave it there. I have some news for next week. It's involving the Lancaster. You might call me silly, you might call me awesome, but that's all I'm going to say right now. There was a thing on, I'm going to say this, guys. There was an incident on Facebook in the Lancaster group. What I'd like to say to you guys is, don't panic about things unless you know all of the facts. Let me explain what's happened. And this isn't a single incident, this is lots of incidents. Part work upgrades. Now, I'm not a regular customer of part work upgrades. In fact, I don't think I bought anything off them. I might have bought something. But I own a part work upgrades mat. I say I own the mat. The cat owns the mat. It was a present from Peter Webster, for which I'm extremely grateful, but the cat stole it and the cat's got it now. But just because I'm not a customer don't mean that I don't think highly of them. All of the modders, and I mean every single one. Chloe, you've got Mike, I'm sure there's another one, and you've got Part Work Upgrades. They all do a fantastic job, and they offer an optional extra for people that want it. However, the guy who runs Part Work Upgrades has decided to call it a day, and I think he's done it in an absolutely fantastic way. He's winding down. Any orders that have been placed will be fulfilled, but he won't be releasing new products, and I think he's going to stop taking orders from a certain date. So I suppose there's a little bit of a marketing ploy there by saying on this date I'm going to finish. Any orders placed after that date will not be fulfilled, so everybody goes, get your orders in now, and suddenly his sales go up. But no, he's decided to call it a day. That's absolutely fine. Now, apparently loads of people are put in PayPal disputes for items that they haven't received yet, which I think is totally unfair. He's promised that you will receive it, and then people have gone, he's shutting down the business, we're not going to receive it, I want my money back. And unfortunately that's how a lot of us work. But one of the items that he was going to do was the power pack for the Lancaster, and someone who I won't mention names had said, Hachette aren't giving us the power pack. Right, Hachette were never giving you the power pack. What Hachette will give you with the Lancaster is, for illustration purposes only, something like this. It won't be this, but they will give you a battery pack, and then at some point you will either use that battery pack to power the Lancaster, or they'll give you something like this to put batteries in. I suspect you'll get another one like we did with the Spitfire. So the whole Lancaster will run off batteries. Now, the power pack means that you can plug it into the wall, you won't be changing batteries. It's an optional extra, and I say optional because you can still run the Lancaster without it. But everybody's gone into panic mode. At least 2 people have quit the Lancaster build. One has quit, hopefully he hasn't quit now after being explained. Because there's not going to be a plug-in power supply, he's quit the build. 34 issues in, he's quit it. So he spent like nearly 400 quid. And he's quit over false information. Somebody else has quit, but the power pack, the way he was talking to me, he's quit over the inaccuracies of the model. He's not happy. I think he's had some bad batches, and I think the lack of power pack has just been that straw on the camel's back. So the question is, would he have quit had Part Work Upgrades decided not to wind down? So I think everybody's got this out of proportion. What you need to do with Hachette and all the other companies is read exactly what they've written. So, and also note things like Part Work Upgrades has decided to call it a day. This is what's happening. Part Work Upgrades has called it a day. People are now ringing up Hachette to say, what's going to happen with the power supply? Hachette, not necessarily knowing about Part Work Upgrades, are saying, you ain't getting a power pack. Right? So now what's happened is people have rung up Hachette, been told you're not getting a power pack, so they think there's no way to power it. And it's like they've actually answered one question when you actually meant something else. So guys, if you are upset about the power pack not coming with the Lancaster, please don't quit the build over that. You will get a power supply, you will get a power source. I'm actually looking into making power supplies. I'm only looking at it at the moment. It's going to be a limited number, but I might even teach people how I've done it. As luck would have it, I spoke to an electrician today. I work out at the bus station, as you can imagine, being a bus driver, it's kind of and they were having some work done. And I saw this guy with a bunch of cables. And I said, I know it's a stupid question. I said, you're an electrician? He went, yes. And I said, can I just ask for a bit of free information? He went, yeah. I said, I'll only be a couple of minutes. And I asked him questions relating to the power pack. And then he was going on about the draw of the batteries. And then I explained it a little bit more in detail. And what he's basically said is, yes, what you're doing is spot on. However, I've had some advice off somebody else the previous day, and he has advised me to have these power supplies pack tested. I know what pack tested. I don't know what pack means, but I know what pack test is. It means I will have to pay someone to test them, and then he'll stick a sticker on it so that if anybody tampers with the power supply, we will know it's been tampered with. You know, like computers and things, they put stickers over the screws, don't they? So in order to remove the cover, you have to break that seal. So if you ever send it back, it says warranty void if damaged. So that's basically what will happen. I'm probably going to be supplying power supplies to people, and I want to make sure they get them. I want to make sure everything is, I'm dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. You know, I'm only accepting PayPal goods and services. I will not accept PayPal family and friends. I will not accept bank transfer. The reason I will only accept PayPal goods and services is that if anything should happen, say for example I can't supply the power supply, you can make a claim through PayPal and you will get your money back through PayPal. I will only ship them by every signed for, tracked and signed for. You don't sign for it, you don't get the power supply. So if you then say I haven't received the power supply, I can go, yeah, you have, here's your signature. But the last thing I want is for you to spend £1,600 on a model. Is that what it's going to cost, £1,600? I can't remember. Let's call it £1,600. You plug my power supply in and suddenly the whole Lancaster blows up. I can't afford to pay that back. So, you know, obviously if there's a problem with the power supply, you'll return it. If that sticker has been tampered with, I can go bog off, it's your own fault. If a sticker's not been tampered with, I can test it myself. So I want to be fair, but also I don't want this to be a business. This is why I'm only doing 20 of them. Those that really do desperately want a power supply, they'll get in there quick. They'll get a cheap power supply. I might be able to provide more, but I know it's not highest paid job in the world, but I'm a bus driver. I love being a bus driver. I've often been told, why don't you do your hobby as your job? And my answer's always been, I would love to be able to hobby 24 hours a day, but when your job is your hobby, it now changes the dynamics. I hobby because I want to. When I get up in the morning and I have to, it just changes it. You know, sometimes I might have 2 days off work and I'll go, right, I need to get on with this. And then I wake up in the morning and I just can't be asked to do it. And the more I have to do it, the less likely I am to do it, because when it becomes you have to do it, I really can't be asked. When I'm doing something because I want to or because I enjoy it, I'll do it more. I said about the airbrush. I was having problems with airbrushes. I think what's happened is when you're a beginner, you can't do it. and then you learn, and you learn very, very quickly. Your knowledge shoots up, and then you hit that point where you're not learning anything, and sometimes your knowledge actually goes down, and then all of a sudden it shoots up again. And I think what's happened is my knowledge went up, and it just hit that point where it's coming down, and I was becoming disillusioned. And then suddenly I've switched the airbrush, and I've gone for this one, and then suddenly it's gone back up again. And now I'm really happy, and now I can't be asked making models, because all I want to do is paint them, you know. So right now I could happily paint every single hour of the day. Forget sleep, let's just get the airbrush out. But if someone now pays me to airbrush something, you know, oh, I ain't done anything this week, I've got to get 4 days airbrushing done in 2 days, and then I'll be like, I can't be asked. So next thing you know, I'm sending money back to people because I haven't done the work. They tell other people, oh, I give this work to Penny, she couldn't do it, and in the end I got a refund. Nobody comes to me for work because I've become unreliable, and that's how it goes. So I'm not interested in turning my hobby into a job. I'll do my bus driving, and I will complain that I don't get enough time off to do my hobbies, and then when I hobby, when I've got time off, I'll hobby as much as I can, and that's how I want it. Yeah, and I'm happy. And if my YouTube channel grows, fantastic. That's really, really nice. And I know there's people out there that don't like me, and I just see that as a sign of I'm making it. Because if you've only got 3 subscribers, there's only 3 people in there that like you. The rest of the people don't know you. As more people know me, more people don't like you. And I see not being liked as all the great YouTubers have people that don't like them. Building with the boys, Nigel's modelling bench, model kit stuff. He was banging on a lot about negative comments, and he says he just deletes them. I know Nigel's modelling bench gets negative comments. I don't get a lot of negative comments. I used to, and I just treat them as a genuine question. I think the last negative comment I had was over one of the part works, and someone said, oh, these part works should be made illegal because they're so expensive. And I just said, oh, that's it, they're conning you out of money. And then I just replied to it like anybody else, and I said, part works is a matter of opinion. You know, you have to go into a part work with your mind open, understanding all the facts. You have to know how much you're going to spend, and then you decide. You know, I don't do all of the part works because some of the part works I don't think are right for me. Talking of part works, so obviously, as you know, a couple of weeks ago the Snoopy came out, and I would absolutely love to do the Snoopy. Absolutely fantastic. I love the look of it, but it's £1,600, and I think Building with the Boys, his name just went. Building with the Boys said exactly how I feel. He says, I love Snoopy, but I don't love him £1,600 worth. The Ford has just come out, or the Mad Max. It looks a wonderful model, as does that Batman Tumbler. But I'm just not really into the vehicles so much. So I won't be doing many vehicles. I saw the Agora bringing out the Goldfinger, at the Aston Martin Goldfinger. And I thought, yeah, actually I'll do that. To be honest with you, what drew me in a little bit more was the limited edition. And I thought, I'm interested in that. And then it said something like they want a £10,000 deposit, and it's like £25,000, and I'm like, I don't love any model in the world that much. So if anyone gets that Goldfinger car, fantastic. I hope it gets you a lot of views. I hope it gets you £25,000 worth of views, because you'll deserve it. But it's not happening on my channel. So Partworks. So there is rumour, it's not rumour, it's fact. There's a new test model coming out in France, or it is out, of the... Why has my screen just stopped? Sorry, my apologies for that, guys. My camera's just stopped. It just froze. Might be doing my processor. I'm keeping an eye on the CPU usage. I use OBS, and it's running at about 15%, which is higher than normal. But my screen froze. So I don't know how long it had frozen for. So if I did freeze for a while, I'm really sorry. So yes, in France they're doing a test of the Yoda. Now if that Yoda comes to the UK, I will be all over that like I'm all over the ET. I absolutely guarantee I'll get that. Because my attitude now to Partworks is, I don't really want to do the Partworks anymore. It's not that I hate them. It's just that, as I'm proving with the Lancaster, because I've got modelling skills and I've got making skills, and I can adapt things, I believe a lot of these models I can do it myself with a cheaper model. I'm still convinced. I'll tell you the latest score on the Lancasters. The score is, after 10... Oh, I haven't scored it on issue, but after issue 9, the Hong Kong model is winning 14-13. That's how close it is. But what's going to be the cost factor is, well, the cost factor is going to be a big thing. I still believe I can produce a better model with a Hong Kong scale model than I can with a Hachette. But the Hachette is still looking like it's going to be a very good model. Now, obviously, if you can't scale model to save your life, then you're better off with a Hachette. Now, I speak to a lot of people that are far, way better scale modelers than me, and they look down on the Hachette model, and they have that right to do so, because they are so skilled with airbrushes and paints, and they know, paint brushes and things. They know what they're doing, and they will produce a much better model. You've got to dip your hand in your pocket, and you've got to put a big initial outlay. But that's my attitude to Partworks. I think a lot of these models I can do a scale model. So the only Partworks that I'm ever going to start new is a model that I feel I can't make myself, like the Infinity Gauntlet. I don't think there's a model out there of that. The ET, no. And then the Yoda. Now, with the technology that they're putting into the ET is slightly different. It isn't actually a model. What it is, it's basic framework with a skin over the top, and it's going to represent the movements. And I think maybe that's the way the Yoda's going to go. You're going to get a basic framework with a skin over the top. And I think, well, if you look at Partworks from, say, 5 years ago, and you compare those to Partworks, say, 10 years before that, you can see how they've evolved. So if you now start thinking what Partworks are going to be like in the next 5 or 10 years, how they're going to evolve, there's going to be some good technology out there. Tell me if you disagree. But some of the models are actually quite basic. The Infinity Gauntlet is actually quite basic. It's pieces of metal stuck together to form the shape. I don't think there's going to be any electronics with it. You've got the stokes, which all individually light up, but they've got their own individual power supply. So I don't know, is there going to be anything else with it? And I think it's the electronics and the things that move. If the propellers didn't move and there was no sound on the Lancaster from Hachette, would you buy it? I bet 70% of you wouldn't. So I know, and I'm going to cause an argument here, Building with the Boys has said on one of his videos he's not into things like war stuff. And I know why. I think I know why. But he's not in, like the U-boat he hasn't done for a very good reason. And he's not into war stuff. And he's done the Lancaster. So why has he done the Lancaster, which kind of semi goes against what he does? And I think a lot of it is the functionality and the fact it looks lovely. So yeah, there might be another reason. I might be talking out my bumhole on that one. I'm sure if I've said something very wrong, he'll drop a comment, or he'll ring me up. He'll ring me up in the middle of the night and go, "Oi, you! I got a problem." But then that's why I like him. If he has a problem, he'll ring me up and he'll tell me. So yes. So guys, right, I'm going to finish it there because I've now gone way over an hour. I moan because most of my weekly videos come out as an hour, and this has gone even longer. So yeah, that's it for me this week. Next week, let me check my phone because I want to know. So next week, oh, actually it's pretty good. So today I finished work at 5 o'clock. So this is why I'm filming the weekly update on the Saturday, because I've literally done it straight after work and I'm going to go to bed. Next week I finish at 5 o'clock, and then I'm on a late shift. Oh, hang on, no, that's a Sunday. Yeah, so I finish at 5 and I start tomorrow at 7. That's so I'm getting the weekly update now. Next week, again, I finish at 5 and I start at 7. So I'll do next week's update on a Saturday. The next week, right, so the week after is a bit of a tricky one. I've been given 4 days work. 4 days work. I've got Wednesday the 9th and Saturday the 12th off. And I've asked for an early shift to Sunday for overtime because I'm then working the Monday and the Tuesday and then got the Wednesday off. I've got Tuesday and Wednesday off. Am I doing a night? Oh yeah, I'm doing a really late shift. But I've got Tuesday and Wednesday. I can't see the point in having 2 days off, then working 1 day and then having 2 days off, and then working 4 days, and then I'm on holiday for a week. So yeah, I'm asking for overtime. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. But you know me, I do my weekly videos as late as I can in the week. If I'm doing a load of Londons, then I'll have to do them on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. But yeah, so that's basically my week for you guys. So we've got Robocop, Warhammer, Bus, Gauntlet, Lancaster. They are most definitely coming. The week after, I haven't made the videos yet. I will endeavour to do them. And obviously I now need to start work on the December videos, because I really want that to happen. And PC's fixed. So yeah, that's it guys. So that is me done for a week. Also guys, do me a favour, go over to Building with the Boys, check out a video. I think it's called something like A Plea for Help. As you may or may not know, his son is a wrestler, and it's something he works really hard on. I have had chats with Scott before, and he's kind of explained how the wrestling thing works. And okay, right, we know about wrestling is entertainment, but the way they do it is, if you won a title, it's because you've deserved it. So Jack has Handsome Jack has won the title and defended it twice that I know of, and he's done that through hard work, and it's given him a lot of focus. And their wrestling practice place had, when it rained, it flooded the place, and they need so much money to put things right. He's got a GoFundMe going, and I've given what I can, which isn't an awful lot, but the way I see it is, if a few people can give a little bit, that's quite a lot of money, isn't it? So please go over to see his video, and then if you can just give £1 or something, or I don't know if he's got super thanks on his channel or anything like that. Whatever you can give, please just give to him, because I love to see, there aren't enough activities in general for kids, and his son has found an activity that he can really focus on, and I think things like that should be cherished. You know, his kiddie isn't one of these kids that goes round and smash old people's doors in and things, and smash their windows, and go stealing and nicking the fags and smoking over the park. Seems a good kid who's got something to focus on, and the weather is taking that away from him, or could take that away from him. So any little that you can help with, go over and just at least go over and have a look, and you know, give him a sympathy message or something. So I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure that Scott will be touched by that. Right guys, that is definitely it for me. So I will catch you in the next weekly update, which will be a week from today. Take care guys, bye bye.